Hello students, welcome to your WebSeek Academy English channel. Today, we will discuss the essay on superstition, which is a part of the first semester BCA English syllabus. This insightful essay is written by A. G. Gardiner, a well-known British essayist celebrated for his simple yet thought-provoking writing style. A note on the author. Alfred George Gardiner, 2nd June 1865 to 3rd March 1946, was an English journalist, editor and author. His essays, written under the alias Alpha of the Plough, are highly regarded. He was also chairman of the National Anti-Sweating League, an advocacy group which campaigned for a minimum wage in industry. A. G. Gardiner was a remarkable essayist who wrote on various topics with elegance, grace and humor. He was influenced by his journalism, humanism, and liberalism. He used techniques such as humor, irony, and satire to make his essays more engaging and persuasive. On superstition summary. Introduction. A. G. Gardiner, in his essay on superstition, explores the nature, origins, and persistence of superstitions in human society. He argues that despite scientific advancements and the spread of rational thought, superstition continues to influence people in various ways. Gardiner presents his ideas with a mix of humor, irony, and logical reasoning, making his argument both engaging and thought-provoking. The survival of superstition. Gardiner begins by acknowledging that human civilization has made significant progress in science and rationality. However, despite this progress, superstitions still persist. He points out that people often believe they have outgrown primitive fears, yet they continue to practice superstitions in disguised forms. While educated individuals may laugh at the idea of ghosts or omens, they still hold irrational beliefs about luck, fate, or supernatural influences on their lives. Superstition among the educated. One of the key arguments Gardiner makes is that superstition is not confined to the uneducated or the poor. Even highly educated individuals, scientists, and intellectuals are sometimes guided by irrational beliefs. He provides examples of seemingly rational people who hesitate to take risks on certain days, refuse to walk under ladders, or believe in lucky numbers. These behaviors, he argues, are rooted in the same fear and ignorance that drive traditional superstitions. Gardiner also highlights that many customs and traditions, which people follow without question, have their roots in superstition. For example, practices like avoiding the number 13, knocking on wood, or carrying lucky charms may seem harmless, but they reflect a deeper tendency to believe in unseen forces rather than logic and reason. Origins of superstition. Gardiner explains that superstition arises from fear, ignorance, and the human tendency to associate unrelated events. In ancient times, when humans did not understand natural phenomena, they attributed them to supernatural causes. For instance, the belief that eclipses were bad omens or that certain animals brought bad luck originated from the inability to explain natural occurrences scientifically. Over time, these beliefs became deeply ingrained in culture and tradition. He also discusses how coincidences often reinforce superstitions. If someone avoids traveling on a particular day because of a bad omen and something unfortunate happens when they travel another day, they might ignore the rational explanation and instead confirm their belief in the superstition. This tendency to connect unrelated events leads to the continued survival of superstitions. Modern superstitions disguised as rational beliefs. Gardiner points out that while people reject old superstitions, they often replace them with new ones. These modern superstitions are disguised under different names, such as psychological reassurance, personal rituals, or cultural habits. For example, An athlete may wear a lucky jersey for every match, or a businessman may have a fixed routine before an important deal. These practices, though seemingly harmless, stem from the same psychological need for control that drives traditional superstitions. He also criticized people who claim to be rational but still hold on to religious or mystical beliefs that have no scientific basis. He argues that many people follow religious or astrological predictions not out of faith, but because they secretly fear bad luck. This, he suggests, is another form of disguised superstition. The harm of superstition. While some superstitions may seem harmless, Gardner warns that they can have negative consequences. Superstitions can lead to fear, anxiety, and irrational decision-making. In extreme cases, they can influence major life choices, such as marriages, business deals, or medical treatments. Blind belief in omens or supernatural signs can prevent people from acting rationally and responsibly. Moreover, superstition can be exploited by charlatans and frauds who take advantage of people's fears. Astrologers, fortune-tellers, and so-called spiritual healers often manipulate superstitious beliefs for their own benefit. Gardner emphasizes that such practices keep society in a state of ignorance and hinder progress. The need for a rational mindset. In the concluding part of the essay, Gardner encourages readers to adopt the scientific and rational approach to life. He urges people to question traditional beliefs and reject ideas that have no logical foundation. He believes that education and critical thinking are the best tools to overcome superstition. However, he also acknowledges that superstition is deeply rooted in human nature. The fear of the unknown and the desire for control over uncertain situations make people susceptible to irrational beliefs. Despite this, he maintains that true progress lies in freeing the mind from fear and embracing reason and knowledge. Conclusion. Through his witty and insightful analysis, Gardner effectively highlights the persistence of superstition in modern society. He shows how even the most educated people are not immune to irrational fears and beliefs. While he acknowledges that superstitions are a natural part of human psychology, he advocates for a shift toward logic and reason. His essay serves as a call for intellectual freedom and progress, reminding readers that true enlightenment comes from questioning blind faith and embracing scientific thought. Answer the following questions in 1 or 2 sentences. 1. What is the implied consequence of having a hospital bed numbered 13? Answer. The implied consequence is that the patient in bed number 13 might face bad luck or misfortune due to the superstition associated with the number 13. 2. Where did the murder take place? Answer. The murder took place at house number 13, which reinforces the superstition that 13 is an unlucky number. 3. What is the author's purpose in using the example of the murder at house number 13? Answer. The author uses this example to highlight how people associate unfortunate events with superstitions rather than rational explanations. 4. What is the main argument made by the author in the essay on superstitions? Answer. The main argument is that superstitions are irrational beliefs rooted in fear and ignorance, and they persist despite advancements in knowledge and reasoning. 5. What was the initial condition of the patient when brought into the hospital? Answer. The patient was in a critical condition when brought into the hospital, and his state was unrelated to the number 13 but rather to medical factors. 6. What was the significance of the pimple on the patient's nose? Answer. The pimple on the patient's nose was considered by some as a sign of bad luck, showcasing how even trivial occurrences are interpreted through superstitious beliefs. 7. What is significant about bus number 13? Answer. Bus number 13 is seen as unlucky. reinforcing the idea that people irrationally link ordinary things to superstitions. 8. Why does the author choose to walk around a ladder leaning against a house? Answer. The author does so to illustrate how superstitions still influence people's behavior, even when they know the beliefs are illogical. 9. What is the author's attitude towards the remnants of superstition in modern times? Answer. The author finds it amusing yet concerning that even in an age of reason, many people still hold on to superstitious beliefs. 10. Why was superstition not considered a discredit in the past? Answer. In the past, superstition was widespread and culturally accepted because people lacked scientific knowledge to explain natural events. 11. What is the significance of the author's mention of turning over money in their hand? Answer. It highlights how people perform small rituals based on superstitions, believing they bring good fortune, despite no logical basis for such beliefs. 12. What is the author's main point about the role of fortune tellers in ancient societies? Answer. The author argues that fortune tellers held power in ancient societies because people depended on them to predict the future, often making decisions based on their advice. Answer the following questions in a page. 1. On what factors does physical recovery of a person depend according to A. G. Gardiner in his essay on superstitions? Answer. A. G. Gardiner argues that a person's physical recovery depends on medical care, physical condition, and mental state rather than superstitions. He criticized the tendency to attribute recovery or deterioration to omens, numbers, or external beliefs rather than scientific reasons. He points out that confidence, proper treatment, and the environment play a vital role in a patient's healing process. By dismissing the idea that external factors such as the number 13 or the presence of certain objects can influence health, Gardiner emphasizes the importance of rational thinking in medical matters. 2. What is the author's attitude towards superstitions? Answer. Gardiner adopts a satirical yet analytical approach towards superstitions. He acknowledges their historical significance but also criticizes their persistence in modern society. He finds it ironic that people still hold on to superstitions despite advancements in education and science. While he understands that such beliefs are deeply ingrained in human nature, he argues that they should be overcome with reason and logical thinking. Through various anecdotes, he humorously exposes the absurdity of superstitions while advocating for a rational approach to life. 3. What is the significance of the law of averages in the context of the essay? Answer. The law of averages plays a crucial role in Gardiner's argument against superstitions. He explains that seemingly unlucky events are often just coincidences, and attributing them to supernatural causes is irrational. For example, if something bad happens on the 13th day, it is not because of the number 13 but rather because random misfortunes occur at any time. The law of averages dictates that both good and bad events will happen over time, regardless of superstitions. Gardiner uses this concept to debunk the belief that certain numbers, objects, or rituals influence fate. 4. What is the primary distinction between the ancient Greeks and Romans, and people of the modern era, according to the author? Answer. According to Gardiner, the main distinction lies in their approach to knowledge and superstition. While ancient Greeks and Romans relied heavily on omens, oracles, and superstitious rituals, modern society has access to scientific reasoning and empirical knowledge. However, despite this progress, remnants of superstition still linger in contemporary life. The author contrasts the past and present to show how human nature clings to irrational beliefs, even when evidence suggests otherwise. He argues that while ancient civilizations had an excuse due to limited scientific understanding, Modern individuals should reject superstition in favor of logic. Answer the following questions in 2 pages each. 1. How does A.G. Gardner put rationale behind superstition through anecdotal style? Give arguments based on your reading of the essay on superstitions. Answer. Gardner employs an anecdotal style to make his critique of superstition engaging and relatable. He presents real-life examples and personal experiences to illustrate how superstitions affect people's behavior. Through humorous and ironic storytelling, he exposes the absurdity of certain beliefs, making his argument more persuasive. He discusses cases like hospital beds numbered 13, house number 13, and fortune tellers to demonstrate how society assigns undue significance to arbitrary symbols. By weaving logic into storytelling, Gardner dismantles the irrationality of superstitions in an accessible way. 2. Critically examine A.G. Gardner's ideas on superstitions. Answer. Gardner's ideas on superstition revolve around the conflict between reason and irrational belief. He acknowledges that superstitions have historical and cultural roots but critiques their continued influence in an age of science. He argues that while superstitions may offer psychological comfort, they ultimately hinder logical thinking. His tone is satirical, as he highlights the contradictions in human behavior. People who consider themselves rational often fall prey to superstitions. Gardner's critical approach challenges readers to question inherited beliefs and rely on reason. 3. Discuss A.G. Gardner as an essayist with special reference to the essay on superstitions. Answer. A.G. Gardner is known for his conversational and analytical style, making profound arguments through simple yet effective prose. In On Superstitions, he combines humor, irony, and logic to engage readers. His essay is structured around anecdotes, observations, and philosophical reflections, showcasing his ability to critique society while maintaining an engaging tone. Gardner's style is accessible, making complex ideas easy to understand. His ability to blend storytelling with critical thought sets him apart as an essayist. 4. A.G. Gardner acknowledges the enduring influence of superstitions in society. Elaborate. Answer. Gardner acknowledges that despite advancements in knowledge, superstitions continue to influence human behavior. He observes that even educated individuals hesitate to break superstitious norms, demonstrating how deeply ingrained these beliefs are. His essay highlights how societal traditions and personal fears contribute to the persistence of superstitions. By presenting various examples, he shows that these beliefs are not just relics of the past but continue to shape modern decisions and actions. 5. Explore how A.G. Gardner critiques superstitions that prevail in society. Bring out Gardner's satirical approach and reasoning as reflected in the given essay. Answer. Gardner critiques superstitions using satire, humor, and logical reasoning. He mocks the absurdity of superstitions, exposing their contradictions and irrationality. Through witty observations, he demonstrates how even rational individuals succumb to baseless fears. His reasoning is grounded in logic, showing that coincidences are mistaken for omens and that superstition is a product of fear rather than reality. His essay serves as a call for intellectual progress and rational thinking in a world still influenced by outdated beliefs. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Webseek Academy for more English lessons and notes. See you in the next video. Until then, never stop learning.